Hey, what's up YouTube? You're watching Ready Set Drone, and it's time once again for me to do a top 10 list. It's my top 10 favorite drones from this past year that I've actually flown, so stay tuned and we'll check it out. So before we get started, I want to mention a couple of quick things. If you're new to this channel and you like drones and you want to learn more about them, please consider subscribing to Ready Set Drone and hitting the notification bell. If you're already a subscriber and you want to take it to the next level, you can hit the join button to learn more about supporting the channel even deeper. So let's get into it. I want to start by telling everyone that I have actually flown every single one of these drones multiple times, and some of them I fly all the time. These are definitely, truly my favorite drones from 2019, and these drones are the ones that I would recommend for you in these different price ranges if the parameters fit correctly. Now, I'm not saying that these are the absolute best drones in the world because I haven't flown every drone in the world. So if you have a drone that you like better and think should have been on the list, please add it to the comments below. I'm going to break this video up into three categories. Number one, toy drones. Number two, FPV drones. And number three, camera drones. Toy drones are just that. They're designed to be played with. They're designed to have kids, maybe an inexperienced pilot, try them out. And some of them have GPS, some of them don't. But generally, they're a little less expensive. They're a great starting point. FPV drones, of course, are drones that are flown with FPV goggles. Now, the ones I'm talking about here are ready to fly off the shelf. None of them actually come with goggles, but they all actually do come with, well, 2 out of the 3 come with a remote control. The third one, you have to have a separate remote control, but we'll talk about that in a minute. And then the final thing is camera drones. These are drones that have a nice, high resolution, high definition, sometimes 4K camera on them, and have the ability to shoot really steady, stable footage because they have a mechanical gimbal on them. So that's how I separated camera drones out from the other two. So let's get started with the toy drones. Let's say you've never flown a drone before in your life and you just want to get started and you want to do some flying indoors. It's bad weather outside, too hot, too cold, raining, whatever. The Potenza K20 is a great place to start. It comes in multiple colors, it's very small, it's very straightforward, there's no app that runs with it, there's no craziness to it. It's just basically a little line of sight flyer that's really solid. It looks really sharp, it's a lot of fun to fly, and it's really cheap. You could buy multiple and fly multiple using the same remote even. You can bind more than one drone with the same remote. So if you have 3 or 4 of them, you can just have one remote that'll power all of them. The batteries are cheap for them. It's a ton of fun. If you want to know more about it, I did a full review of the Potenza K20. You can go check it out. Number 2 is a drone that seems to make my list every single time because it's just such a solid line of sight flyer. It's the Syma X5C. Now, this drone's actually been around for quite a few years. I think there have been a few small improvements to it, but overall it's just been rock solid since I first tried it in 2014 maybe. It is a very, very fun, very, very fast, very, very agile, very easy to fly drone that you can fly outdoors. I wouldn't recommend it for indoors. If you want indoors, stick with the Potenza K20, but if you want outdoors, the Syma X5C, because it has different rates, can handle a lot of wind. It does flips. It does have a camera. The footage is not very good, so I don't even recommend the camera. As a matter of fact, my favorite way to fly the Syma X5C is to take the landing gear and the prop guards and the camera off of it completely and just fly it as a flat drone because it's so much more agile and faster and just a ton of fun to fly. It's easy to hand catch. You can throw it in the air. I just love the thing, so I would highly recommend checking out the Syma X5C if you want a great all-around outdoor line of sight beginner drone that's pretty inexpensive at about 40 bucks. My third favorite toy drone is the Rise Telo. Now, a lot of people think DJI makes this drone. DJI does not make this drone. They provided some of the technology along with Intel for this drone, but they didn't make it, they just market it. The Rise Telo is a very, very robust little drone because it has a very good app. You don't use a remote, although you can use a Bluetooth remote if you want to, but it flies very well for flying with your phone. So if you have an Android or an iOS phone, you can fly it with that. It'll do flips, it'll do orbits, it'll do lots of pre-programmed things that you can actually do in the app. And then you can also use, I've never actually done this, but you can use the programming language Scratch to program things for it to do. So if you are into programming and you want to be able to program a drone to do certain tasks, Scratch with the Telo works pretty well. And that's a side of it I've never even tried. But I really enjoy the Telo. The video quality is okay for a drone of this size. It's not going to be great because it doesn't have a gimbal and it's not stabilized. But for just having some fun and for 99 bucks and one that you don't even have to have a remote for because it works well with your phone, I highly recommend the Rise Telo. Go check it out. So finally on my list is the Bugs 2 from MJX RC. The Bugs 2 is part of the lineup of Bugs drones, which includes the Bugs 2, the Bugs 3, the Bugs 5, I think there's even a Bugs 8, which is an FPV drone. There's a whole bunch of them, but the Bugs 2 to me is the best all-around drone in the toy category. You can get it with GPS, you can get it with different colors, and it has a few different options for it. There's even a special edition, I believe. But they all fall in about that $200 to $300 price range, depending on which one you get. The GPS on these things is rock solid. The range is really good. The app is really well built. I really like the Bugs 2. And if you're looking for a drone that you can get out and fly, shoot some decent footage with, again, no gimbal, but just having some fun with it, and has GPS, the Bugs 2 at $200 to $300 is a really good choice. So go check it out. Okay, so now let's get into the FPV Flyers. I want to preface real quick by saying that I'm not a hardcore FPV racer or freestyle pilot. I'm trying to become one. I certainly love doing it. It is such a rush. It's so much fun, but it's also really hard. It's one of those things that you got to practice and practice on. So if you get a chance, actually check out the sims. The DRL sim is a fantastic simulator, and it really helps you learn how to be a better FPV pilot. Second thing I want to mention is that of these 3 drones, 2 of them come with a remote control if you buy the Ready to Fly package, and none of them come with the goggles. So you're going to need a pair of goggles. There's a variety of them from Aomway, Fat Shark, different ones, even some cheaper ones that you can get. I'll put links in the description if you're looking for FPV goggles. And those will obviously be the things you wear to be able to see what the drone sees. First person view is what FPV stands for. These can also be flown line of sight. So if you want to get into FPV but you want to start flying line of sight, you can get one of these, fly it around line of sight, meaning that you're just watching it, you're not wearing the goggles, and then eventually get to where you put the goggles on, and eventually get to where you can switch them over into acro mode, which means that they're not self-stabilized. All 3 of these do acro mode. They all have horizon, angle, and acro mode, which means you can fly from really stabilized all the way to no stabilization at all. So they can grow with you as you get better as an FPV pilot. The first one, I would say, is kind of the cheapest and more in the toy category, but pretty fun. It's what you would call a tiny whoop. It's a small form factor, indoor, has guarded propellers. It's called the Mira Robot S85, and it's about 75 bucks with the remote control. And I've had mine for about 6 months now, and I find myself flying it a lot because it's very compact. The remote control actually is really small. It's a video game style remote, so it's easy to throw into a bag and fly around when you want to just mess around with some FPV. It does do acro mode, which a lot of these smaller ones don't, but it also does stabilized mode, like in horizon or angle. So you can learn how to fly on it and then switch over when you get a little more comfortable. 75 bucks, the Mira Robot S85. You can get it on Amazon. I recommend checking it out if you get a chance. The next FPV Flyer that I recommend, and I'm actually really excited about right now, is the Tiny Hawk S. The Tiny Hawk S runs about 100 bucks, but it does not come with a transmitter. It doesn't come with a radio. You have to get that separately. And I believe you can get it for different radio protocols. The one I have is for FR Sky, which is the Taranis radios. It's one of the more popular series of radios. Those will run you about 200 bucks, I'd say, for a good radio. But the nice thing about those is you can bind them to other drones. Like you can have a whole fleet of drones that use that protocol and allow you to fly multiple drones with one remote. Not at the same time, of course, but over different days. But the Tiny Hawk S has brushless motors. It's very, very sleek looking, and of the 2, between that one and the Mira Robot, it's actually a much higher quality drone because it is brushless motors. Brushless motors are going to last longer. They have more power to weight ratio. And another thing about the Tiny Hawk S is you can run a 1S or a 2S battery in it. Now that may not sound like much, but putting a 2S battery in a drone this small really, really makes it go. There's some settings you have to change, so go watch videos to make sure you know how to do that before you put a 2S battery in it. But if you want to get into more serious indoor or outdoor FPV racing, I think the Tiny Hawk S is a great way to go. Okay, the next FPV drone on my list is the Wallara Rodeo 110. Now 110 refers to the number of millimeters diagonally across the drone from motor to motor. It's a fairly small drone, but it is big enough and powerful enough that you can fly it outdoors. It is my go-to for outdoor flying because it's small enough that I can fly it in small spaces, but strong enough that it'll actually go pretty well in the wind. It does come as a ready-to-fly kit, meaning that you get everything except for the goggles, including a pretty decent Devo radio. And it's something that you can actually learn on and go to the bigger drones if you wanted to from there. And that's what I've been doing. It does have acro right out of the gate. You can turn it on, and there'll be 3 switches where you can have angle, horizon, or acro mode. And it has a lot of cool features as far as the way that the buzzer goes off when it crashes so you can find it, and lots of other stuff that you'll appreciate when you get out in the field with it. It is for outdoors. It's not an indoor racer, even though it's kind of small, but it's a great gateway into the bigger drones. If you're looking to get a little more serious and you want to fly outdoors and want to be able to do it when there's a little bit of wind, not too much, but a little bit, I highly recommend the Wallara Rodeo 110. Okay, now finally we're to the camera drones. Now, again, these are drones that you can do really cool cinematic video and photography with. They have good size sensors and shoot everywhere from HD all the way to 4K, depending on which drone it is. They also have mechanical gimbals, which means your footage is gonna be really smooth and slick. So my first one on the list for 400 bucks is the DJI Spark. DJI Spark has been out for a little while, but honestly, nothing beats it in that price range in my opinion. It has a 2-axis gimbal and a 1080 camera, but at the end of the day, if you're just getting into doing video production or shooting YouTube and you want a drone, the Spark is perfect. It's small, it's unintimidating, it's easy to fly, it's super fun to fly in sport mode as well as in the slower modes. I highly recommend checking it out if you don't have a camera drone already and you want to get a good one. The Spark's a really great place to start at 400 bucks. The next one on my list kind of fits in the middle between the Spark and the top end, and that's the Parrot Anafi. I had a Parrot Anafi for about 6 to 8 months, and I ended up giving it away, and I liked it a lot. I will say that it did have a few troubling things about it, but it definitely took great video. It was very lightweight, very easy to fly. The app worked pretty well. The video quality was, I'd say good, not great, but pretty good. You can buy them at Best Buy or you can order them online. I have a link below if you want to check it out. But if you want a camera drone that can do a lot of good things, is small, lightweight, quiet, and very easy to fly, and is not DJI, the Parrot Anafi is a good choice at $650. Okay, and then the final drone on my top 10 list, number 10, the most expensive, coming in at $999, is the DJI Mavic Pro Platinum. Now, what is the Mavic Pro Platinum compared to the others? Well, it's not the Air, it's the bigger one that's more in the form factor of the Mavic Pro. It's not the Mavic 2, but it's what came out between the Mavic Pro and the Mavic 2. It's an improvement on the original Mavic Pro because it has better ESCs, which are the electronic speed controllers, which means you get more flight time. It's also quieter because of the propellers, and that also gives you more flight time. It's a cool platinum color, and it was, before the Mavic 2 came out, my go-to photography drone for a very long time. I don't know how much longer they're going to be selling the Mavic Pro Platinum, quite honestly, but you can still get it on DJI's website. Of course, you can still get it on Amazon, and you can probably find them used. I still have my Mavic Pro Platinum, and I still actually fly it quite a bit because I really like it a lot. I really think it's worth extra money that you would pay, the extra $100 or so over the Mavic Pro, mostly because of the propellers and the ESCs. But it is, for $1,000, a really great video and photography platform. So check out the Mavic Pro Platinum if you're looking to get into a really good video flying camera for less than $1,000. So that's it. Those are my 10 favorite drones from this past year. I think they are all really solid choices. Believe me, there are some that I've received this year that just didn't make the cut. I really couldn't stand them. But these, I can truly say, are all really good drones depending on what you want to do with it. If you have questions or comments, please leave them below. I'd love to hear from you. I try to answer every question that gets asked and definitely reply to comments. If I missed a drone that you think I should cover, let me know. And odds are I just haven't flown it, so I didn't include it on the list. But, and also if you want to go check out the full reviews of all these drones, of course there were links in the videos and there will be links down below if you want to go get more in depth on each of these drones. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like. And once again, please consider subscribing. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.